farming एक gold mine है. Is this a myth or reality?
We have clusters in every state in India where you can find amazingly rich farmers. They will have cars that we can't even imagine.
Siddharth Dialani, co-founder at Bharat Agri, as he talks about the company's mission of bridging the gap between technology and agriculture in India.
Bharat Agri offers farmers app-based platform for AI-based agronomy services
With a vision to reach out to 140 million Indian farmers.
What are these BMW and Mercedes owning farmers do right, which is turning them into millionaires? What could be my approach to choosing the right crop?
A country like Australia, which is not even an agrarian economy, grows 5 times more rice per unit acre of land as compared to India.
5 times per unit acre.
Yes.
Because we tend to hear so many news about the farmer suicide and farming not being viable and the farmer struggling.
Diwali time marigold will be like 200 rupees a kilo. Otherwise you will get it for 5 rupees. It has to be the agriculture science plus a business aspect of it went to go.
This farmer became a millionaire by growing tomato.
I have a lot of friends who have got 100-acre farms and they're still not rich.
Yeah.
Is this the reason?
Yeah. Because
Hi guys, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. And like I just told you off record, I am very excited to have you because my uncle has given me a lot of questions to ask you because he's extremely passionate about farming. He works in an IT company and my other uncle works in the US and they both are so passionate that even in the US उन्होंने अपने backyard में बहुत सारा vegetables को grow करके he tells me with a lot of pride that you know what, ये जो tomato तू देख रहा है ये मैंने उगाया है अपने backyard में. And so today I am kind of going to do a podcast on their behalf to try and understand the market in India. And if you tell my uncle in the US that he could make decent money in India by doing farming, I'm sure he will directly move. Okay, to that extent, they are passionate. And the other thing that I'm deeply curious to understand is this market of farming in general, because we tend to hear so many news about the farmer suicide and farming not being viable and the farmer struggling. But we also miss out on the bright side, which is where farming is an extremely viable business. And just like any other business, there are too many constraints, but those constraints can be overcome to an extent where you can gain enough control over the business. And there's also a possibility of you doing insanely well in this business. And because you guys have been in this field for about half a decade, we want to get a deeper understanding of how to treat farming as a business and then grow sustainably to an extent where farmers can become millionaires in India. If that's clear, shall we get started?
Yes.
Great. Guys, let's start with the first question. मुझे बताओ, ये जो बोलते हैं ना कि फार्मिंग एक गोल्ड माइन है, क्योंकि मेरे अंकल मुझे हमेशा बोलते हैं कि अगर तूने एक फार्मलैंड अच्छे से ले लिया ना, तो ये स्टॉक्स वॉक्स सब तू छोड़ दे, तो तू इतना पैसा कमाएगा कि तू उसी से फाइनेंशियली फ्री हो जाएगा. तो वॉक मी थ्रू दिस. इज दिस अ मिथ और रियलिटी?
Firstly, it's true. Farming is a gold mine. So farming is the oldest profession that human beings have been involved in, more than thousands of years. And it wouldn't have survived this long if it was not profitable. Today, as proof point, we have clusters in every state in India where you can find amazingly rich farmers. They will have cars that we can't even imagine. They will have land sizes. They will have a lifestyle that we would have never thought about. That's because they have actually understood how to make profits out of the farm.
these people use latest of the technologies. They import material to be used on farm, like anything which you can imagine in a very professionally run business where there are consultants and then there is a proper production line. That level of management is there in such.
जस्ट टू मेक दिस मोर ल्यूक्रेटिव, मुझे बताओ कि सबसे फैंसी कर अपने फार्मर के पास क्या देखा, तो ऑडियंस उससे समझ जाएगी कि वाओ बहुत पैसा है इसमें.
मैं जनरल बता देता हूँ, सबसे फैंसी नहीं बताऊंगा. But generally we have seen कि it is very common for farmers to have cars like Fortuner. Once they start seeing regular good cash flow coming from the farming profession, so they want a powerful car जिससे उनकी खुद की पावर भी दिखे, and the powerful car is actually useful also which can drive in rural areas. तो Fortuner is like very common. उसके अलावा it's very common for farmers to use bulky SUVs in Mercedes and BMW range.
Yeah,
Insane.
in Mercedes and BMW, mostly we see SUVs over there, not.
तो सेडान है ही नहीं, farmers are
Sedan
directly
तो है
using
ही नहीं.
SUV.
Yeah,
हाँ,
BMW and Mercedes.
right.
Very fascinating. Now tell me, what are these BMW and Mercedes owning farmers do right,
हाँ.
which is turning them into millionaires?
Got it. So a couple of things, and let's go into detail. Which other farmers or other entrepreneurs who want to get into farming themselves can replicate. The first and foremost is selecting the right crop. Like in manufacturing, you figure out some commodities जिसकी वैल्यू बहुत ज़्यादा होती है एंड कुछ चीज़ों की वैल्यू बहुत कम होती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आप आईफोन बना रहे हो एंड आपने अच्छी तरह से मार्केट कर दिया तो चांसेस है कि यू विल टर्न आउट टू बी रिच. वेयर एज if you are still manufacturing radio, then the chances that you will make money is less. तो सबसे पहला डिसीजन है कि आपको कौन सा क्रॉप ग्रो करना है. नाउ आइडेंटिफाई अ क्रॉप जिसकी वैल्यू ज़्यादा है. अब वैल्यू कैसे ज़्यादा आइडेंटिफाई होती है कि एक तो इंडिया में ही वैल्यू ज़्यादा है प्लस एक्सपोर्ट वैल्यू भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. एंड फॉर्चुनेटली वी आर इन एन एरा वेयर इन्फॉर्मेशन इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. तो स्पेंडिंग अ फ्यू आवर्स और अ फ्यू डेज डूइंग डीप रिसर्च यू कैन फाइंड आउट कि किस चीज़ की वैल्यू बहुत ज़्यादा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इंडिया इज़ नोन फॉर इट्स स्पाइसेस. तो अगर आपने राइट काइंड ऑफ टर्मरिक उगा लिया या राइट काइंड ऑफ एनी स्पाइसेस उगा लिए जिसको आप एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हो एंड डोमेस्टिक वैल्यू भी अच्छी है. डोंट डिपेंड ओनली ऑन एक्सपोर्ट, क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल मार्केट तो आप कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते हो. तो फाइंड अ क्रॉप जिसकी डोमेस्टिक वैल्यू भी अच्छी है और एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट भी अच्छा है.
Got it.
तो ये जो रिच फार्मर्स हैं, और ये रिच फार्मर्स आपको हर स्टेट में मिलेंगे. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत ही लिमिटेड है. ये आपको महाराष्ट्र में भी मिलेंगे, पंजाब हरियाणा में भी मिलेंगे, कर्नाटका तमिलनाडु में भी मिलेंगे. हर जगह उन्होंने एक कमोडिटी और एक क्रॉप आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है जो वो ग्रो करके बहुत पैसा कमा सकते हैं. तो
Got it.
स्पाइसेस तो हैं,
Hmm.
तो टर्मरिक हो गया, ब्लैक पेपर हो गया, कार्डेमम, which you can grow sell in India as well as you can export.
Okay.
Then tea, coffee and tobacco farmers are good in terms of their economic condition, क्योंकि ये commodities इंडिया में भी इनका डिमांड अच्छा है और एक्सपोर्ट भी कर पाते हैं. Then if you look at fruits, think of yourself as a consumer, what fruits you eat regularly and are ready to pay a premium for that. Not necessarily for banana, right? But you are ready to do that for strawberry. A lot of it also for grapes, mangoes and pomegranate. So there's a domestic market which is proven. People like these fruits and people are ready to pay a premium for it. At the same time, there's an export value. If you can figure out an export market, then your incomes will increase even further. So what these rich farmers have done, they were not born rich, but they selected the right crop. That was point number one. Crops like strawberry, grapes, pomegranate, or here some spices. Now, once you have selected the crop, the next thing to do is grow it perfectly. Higher the value, difficult it is to grow. That's the natural universal law for everything in life, right? If things were easy, everyone is doing it and then value goes down.
Like for banana.
Like banana. Banana is available so cheaply in the market because it's relatively easy to grow. So every farmer grows it. Supply is high. So even though demand is high, the value is not that high. But strawberry, grapes, extremely difficult to grow. So very handful of farmers have figured out how to grow it. Demand continues to remain high, so value increases. Why is the export value high? Rest of the world has not yet figured out how to grow grapes.
Really?
Yeah, India is one of the top exporter of grapes.
Okay.
Because
Grapes is very difficult, and even in that, if you the export value is for residue free grapes.
What do you mean by residue-free grapes?
So basically, if the grapes are there and if you test it, if there is any top residue of chemicals, it's very difficult to grow, which Indian farmers have figured out.
so one thing, and it would be good for the audience to understand that if you want to export any crop, let's say even rice, wheat, and grapes, pomegranate, it should be residue free. What we mean by residue free is that when you're growing a crop, you spray some chemical fertilizers and pesticides. And while testing a batch of export container, the testing is done. And if any residue of any chemical is found and there are defined parameters, everything is highly scientific and highly objective. So if a chemical is found beyond a particular range, then your export gets rejected right then and there.
Specifically, EU came up with lot of regulations on this, and EU's regulations are considered a standard high value regulations, which then every other country also started adopting.
Got it. So the first step is choose the right crop. Second step is grow it perfectly. Can we go a little deeper into this? Okay, first let's define all the steps and then we'll go deeper into each of these steps.
Maybe we can go into detail now itself. So growing perfectly is important. Let's figure that out. What does that mean? Firstly, given the weather conditions, and let's take grapes and strawberries as example, they are very difficult crops to grow. A particular crop like grape will have more than 20 pest and disease attack during a season. One season is generally 6 months. Now we know how seasons work in India. Sometimes rainfall can be extreme. Sometimes it can be extreme in opposite direction where there is no rainfall. So this weather condition will affect a crop like grape significantly. Then temperatures can be extreme. Even though let's say November is supposed to be winter, but sometimes the heat can be beyond a particular range. Or sometimes we expect July to be warm, but sometimes it's very cold because of rain. So the weather is something that is not in your control, but it's extremely important. Wind speed can be extreme, humidity can be extreme. So these parameters, that is rainfall, temperature, humidity and wind speed, they affect the growth of any crop, and even more for difficult crops like strawberry, grapes and pomegranate. And each change in weather condition can impact what pest and disease attack will happen, which is same as human beings, right? More change in weather will lead to some fever, cough, or maybe some complicated diseases. That's the same thing happens in crop. But human medical science has evolved. Today, we are capable to either prevent that disease by maybe, let's say, staying indoor, immunity, etc., or we can control quickly even when we catch the disease. But agriculture science at the farmer level has not evolved so much that they learn how to prevent it based on changing weather conditions or control it once the disease happens.
As in, there are methods, but they're not aware of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got it. ठीक है.
But grapes farmers are aware of it, and that's why they are rich.
That's why they have a BMW.
Yeah. So they have figured out that if I want to grow a good crop, how do I increase the immunity so much that I'll prevent the pest and disease? And in some cases, the pest and disease attack will happen. How do I control it? And that's where Bharat Agri comes into the picture.
Got it.
Grapes is just an example, but you grow any crop in India. We have a portfolio of more than 40 crops. We will guide you how to prevent any pest or disease attack, how to increase immunity, how to control it, and that too based on changing climatic conditions.
Perfect. So let's go deeper into this first step, which is how to choose the right crop. So can you help me understand? Let's take Maharashtra as an example. If I choose Maharashtra because I'm living in Maharashtra, what should be my approach to choosing the right crop?
Yeah. So the first and foremost is check how much is water is available in your farm. So once you have selected a farm, you can also select a farm based on how much water there is.
I think that's better.
Yeah.
Choosing a farm based on how much water there is.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you are an entrepreneur who is starting with buying or renting a land, then you have the liberty to do that. But if you are a farmer who has a land from ancestors, then you have water how much you have. You can't change that.
Now, based on my choice of water levels, what do you think is a sweet spot for the water level for a particular land?
So two factors. First is ideally if your land is near a river or a canals which are built by the government to bring in irrigation to every farm, that is ideal. River water is considered better. And try to have a perennial water supply.
Perennial water supply.
Yeah. If you are doing this for return on investment, you don't want that 2 to 3 months you are not doing farming at all because of extreme heat where there's no water at all. Most of the farmers do that, which is what makes farming for them less lucrative. Just imagine running a business where 3 months there's no revenue, but your expenses will continue, right? You need to feed yourselves and family. But that happens with farmers, where in India, Feb, March and April is unproven fact that it's extreme heat, no rainfall, and all your water storage dries up because August monsoon ends, then your water continues till Jan, but from Feb onwards that starts depleting.
Right.
So now you have no water and you can't do farming.
So in Maharashtra, can you point out areas where I can get perennial water supply?
Many.
So Western Maharashtra is famous for that, and all the rich farmers you will see majorly in Western Maharashtra.
Western Maharashtra.
Yeah. So from Nasik till down Solapur, Kolhapur.
My fiance's family actually grows grapes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now I'll ask her.
Yeah.
So you know now their money status.
I did not know that she's rich. Now I'll go and talk to her.
Yeah, grape farmers are generally rich,
Okay.
and I am assuming they would be in Western Maharashtra. Are generally grown in Western Maharashtra, mostly because of water and climate.
Got it. Can you
We-
name a few places in Western Maharashtra?
Sula is in Nasik.
Sula,
So-
Nasik.
And Sula is from a very like our generation entrepreneur,
Yeah.
maybe plus 10 years, maybe. But he actually went to US, he studied there, then he got into wine production, and then he came back and started Sula.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like Nasik got famous because of Sula, but they are growing grapes for like last 20-30 years.
Okay. So
And
Nasik is one.
then grapes are also grown in Satara,
Satara,
Pune district.
Pune.
Sangli is another place.
Sangli, Solapur also. Mercedes opened their first showroom in Kolhapur.
Really?
Yeah, like many years back, but
Okay.
it was started from Kolhapur because the quantum of people, rich people, was most in Maharashtra over there.
Very interesting. So यहाँ पे जो हम grapes की बात कर रहे हैं, are these locations ideal only for grapes, or because they're ideal for grapes, they can be ideal for anything?
They can be ideal for many more crops.
So
Okay.
basically now there are secondary, tertiary crops which all these grape farmers also grow, because in agriculture, crop rotation is also important. You cannot
Yeah.
just grow grapes for like 15 years. There will be a 3-year patch you will go grow grapes, then probably you will shift to pomegranate, which is again a high value crop, will give you equivalent yields, but the crop rotation scientifically is required.
Got it. So you're supposed to choose a patch of land which has perennial water supply, and if it has a river close by, that is ideal. If not, if there's a canal that the government has built, that is ideal. Great. So the first step, water supply, is done.
Yeah.
Any measurement of the water levels that we're supposed to make for ground level, for groundwater or something like that?
So groundwater is also important. There are no numbers as such, but through your primary research, you have to be confident that water is available here for 12 months.
12 months.
There are a lot of places where there's no groundwater for 2 months, but
Hmm.
then after rainfall, groundwater get replenishes. But that won't work for your business. You need to have it for 12 months.
Any kilometer range that you can suggest for a place to be considered close to the river?
Generally, we have seen that anything that is more than 1 kilometer, it doesn't work, because you'll need a pipeline that directly connects either the canal or the river to your farm. And that pipeline you will have to build yourself. So you'll have to invest that money.
Okay.
And beyond 1 kilometer, then the pressure goes down. So you'll have to keep investing in more motors to continue to build up the pressure. Then the ROI goes down. So closer to the river, the better it is. 1 kilometer is a general rule of thumb.
Okay.
A lot of it changes based on the civil structure of the area, but that's the rule of thumb.
Got it. So water is done. What is the next parameter that I'm supposed to consider?
Second is soil.
Soil.
Your soil should be fertile.
Okay.
Now, what do you mean by fertile? For a layman, you would have seen that when you touch a soil, either it has to be thick and muddy, or it is sandy. Now, anything that is sandy is less fertile. It has low water holding capacity and low nutrient holding capacity. So a lot of high value crops cannot be grown there. But when anything that is black, heavy, muddy, it has its pros and cons, but generally it is considered more fertile. You can do some physical soil testing as well as chemical soil testing to understand the fertility of the soil.
What are these tests called?
So simple soil test, but divided into two: physical soil test and chemical soil test.
Got it.
And that's where again Bharat Agri comes into the picture. As
Okay.
you can see that all of this is complicated science, right?
Yeah.
As complicated as that you have to do a blood test, or you have to have a entire body test to figure out can you be an athlete or not. So that's the same thing that Bharat Agri is trying to do. It's trying to bring science into agriculture. You have a farm, you want to figure out what crop can I grow. Just get soil testing done with Bharat Agri and we'll guide you what crop is suitable.
Beautiful.
And then once you have even selected the crop, you want to know how to grow the crop. And there again soil testing is important to
So
understand.
you can also have a look at the soil test and tell me which crop to grow.
Yeah,
Perfect. Great. So soil is the second parameter.
yeah.
I think third is climate.
Climate is again important, yeah.
Climate. Okay. How am I supposed to gauge the climate?
One is rainfall,
Hmm.
second is temperature.
Any of rainfall that I would consider ideal?
It depends from crop to crop. Right now, I may not be able to tell you the numbers, but it can be figured out through some research.
Got it.
There is specific range for temperature as well as for rainfall, which is suitable for growing high value crops.
High value crops.
So, for example, grapes can be grown in this. We told you a couple of districts in Maharashtra, right? Other than that, in Maharashtra, it can't be grown even if there is water available.
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
what gives
correct.
Sula an extraordinary advantage.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then similar weather is there in Western Karnataka also, because it's the same stretch which gets carried over down.
Hmm.
So there it can be grown. But if you say, if you want to grow, let's say grape in Kerala, it can't be grown because it goes more tropical. We go more towards equator and the weather conditions are different. So the agroclimatic zone decision is also important.
Got it.
And
Can you-
generally,
yeah.
where grape can be grown, anything can be grown. Like even if you want to grow something very low value like rice, you can grow. But vice versa is not possible.
Got it.
Can you imagine some of the hottest regions in Maharashtra, if you can name them?
Dure
Nagpur-
is one.
Yeah, Nagpur is one.
Nagpur or Akola side.
Yeah.
There you can't unfortunately grow grapes.
Hmm.
But that becomes very hot in some months, most of the months.
Yeah.
So a crop like grape will die there even if you have sufficient water.
Hmm.
So my family farm, it's next to river, more than 100 acres. So we have pipeline, we have 12-month water supply. Soil quality is really good, but we can't grow grapes. Impossible.
Because of the climate
Yes.
conditions.
Climate.
Oh my God. Which is why I have a lot of friends who have got 100-acre farms and they're still not rich.
Yeah.
Is this the reason?
Yeah.
behind it?
Because now this 100-acre farm, there can be only certain set of crops which can be grown.
Hmm.
So the value of land is also not that high. Like 100 acres in Western Maharashtra will be like hundreds of
Super
crores,
rich.
but not that equivalent in Eastern Maharashtra.
What about Solapur?
Solapur is good.
Solapur is good.
Yeah.
right?
Is above average in percentile.
Got it. Perfect.
Now,
So we have
there are a few
climate
more
mein-
factors we'll add after climate.
Okay.
Now, one thing is to become
Just a second. Climate में rainfall के अलावा do we have any other major
temperature.
parameter? Temperature. Any temperature range that you would consider to be ideal?
So,
Temperature range.
15 to 30 is considered ideal.
This is all throughout the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
As in आपका lowest 15 होना चाहिए और highest 30 तक होना चाहिए. उसके ऊपर अगर जाता है तो ideal नहीं है.
Correct.
ठीक है.
Now, one thing is you want to become extremely rich by growing grapes, pomegranate, strawberry, and we know that large chunk of farmers cannot grow it. It's very difficult. But still you want to be rich. Like you took an example, you have some friends who have 100 acres of farm. You cannot recommend them to grow strawberry and grapes because one is climate and second is again it's difficult. So what would you suggest to them? Which is where again Bharat Agri comes into the picture. There are some medium segment crops which are below grapes and pomegranate. For example, all vegetables. So vegetables like onion, tomato, even potato, chili, marigold, brinjal. These are some vegetables that can fetch good money to the farmer.
Got it.
But it's not only about growing, it's right time of growth also. Like you must have seen tomato prices grow as high as 100 rupee a kilo and as low as 1 rupee a kilo, right? It's a demand supply equation. Same with marigold. Diwali time, marigold will be like 200 rupees a kilo.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get it for 5 rupees. So it has to be the agriculture science plus a business aspect of it when to grow.
This is primarily driven by domestic demand, right?
Yeah. Vegetables generally would be domestic
Now
demand.
export has also started picking up.
For which particular vegetable?
Like onion is generally exported.
Yeah, chili, green chili and even red,
Red
chili.
chili.
There is a good export demand which is coming. Majorly India supplies to Middle East.
Middle East. Got it.
Now, these vegetables. So if an average farmer, like we have seen the climate, soil and water is very good in Punjab, Haryana and even Uttar Pradesh. But because of the limited knowledge, they generally depend on rice and wheat crops.
Correct.
Which fetches them less money per acre.
Okay.
They turn out to be rich because of the large pieces of land that they may have, but per acre income is very low. So rather than recommending them as Bharat Agri, rather than recommending them to jump to grapes and pomegranate, which we know is difficult, we recommend them that on small pieces of land start growing vegetables.
Got it. Guys, can we put numbers to the per acre revenue that these crops can generate. So let's start with grapes. What would be the revenue that an acre of grape farm can generate? And let's go to other crops so that we understand what do we mean by value.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with grapes.
A grape farm can generate up to 5 to 7 lakh rupees of revenue per acre.
Got it.
Second level is, medium level is vegetables, which can generate anywhere between 2 to 3 lakh of revenue per acre.
What about strawberry?
Strawberry will come in grapes range.
Yeah. Grapes will include strawberry, grapes, pomegranate.
Vegetables will generate 2 to 3 lakhs per acre.
Per acre.
What about rice and wheat?
Now the third and the lowest most is rice and wheat, and now you'll be surprised that they generate not more than 40,000 per acre.
What are you saying, guys?
Yeah.
What about millets, guys?
Millets will be same as rice, wheat. Any grains and pulses, which is all pulses, you grow soya bean, you grow tuar. In Rajasthan, a lot of sarso, mustard is grown. Then rice, wheat, corn, all millets, they come in the same category. They'll generate not more than 40,000 per acre. And that is why if you will visit a soybean farm, in an average soybean farm in Maharashtra, in Madhya Pradesh, it will be like 10, 20 acres. But they can't survive with 1 or 2 acres. Soybean takes like 6 months to grow. So in 6 months, you are earning 40,000.
Okay, so this 5 to 7 lakhs is per season.
Yeah. So grape takes 1 full year.
Okay.
Vegetables the good thing about vegetables is that they take only 3 to 4 months. So you can grow vegetables 2 times a year, sometimes even 3 times a year.
Got it. So if I grow vegetables 2 times a year, then I can kind of generate as much revenue as a grape farm, right?
Yes, if things are ideal for you. But you know that if you continue growing tomato because it worked well for you, now you are growing twice a year, at least in one season the prices will crash and then you will regret. So what you do is you diversify. That I'll grow tomato, some bit chili, some bit onion, some bit brinjal, and 1 out of 4 crops will crash every year. So you have to
Yeah.
It's
Vegetable
very
is
common.
very, very sensitive and it's non-perishable. It's perishable, right?
Yeah,
So there is nothing which a farmer can do after growing it.
got it.
So diversification is very important. Good thing about these grapes and the first category which we told is there is very high export demand, so the prices will be stable. It's
Got it.
difficult but stable.
Perfect. So high value, medium value, low value ho gaya. Shall we come back to how to choose the right piece of land?
Yeah. So we considered weather, water, and soil.
Correct.
Now, the fourth thing, and one reason we wanted to bring the topic of vegetable here was that market is important. Now, if you are growing vegetables or if you are growing highly perishable crops, like strawberry is highly perishable, within 4 to 5 days, your produce will be spoiled. So you have to sell it within 4 or 5 days of harvest. So the market that buys the produce from you should be nearby. Farmers who grow vegetables like onion, not onion because onion is semi-perishable. It can survive for even 2-3 months if stored properly. But tomato, chili, brinjal, cauliflower, and strawberry I'll consider here because it is perishable. You need to sell within 24 hours of harvest. Because after selling also it goes to the consumer and it takes 3-4 days.
Can cold storage help over here?
It does. We have seen a lot of cold storage capacities in Western Maharashtra unused.
Unused.
Yeah, because it's cost. The appreciation from your production to sales price is not enough to cover that cold storage and give a profit over there.
Can you give me like a number? Let's say I'm selling something for 20 rupees a kilo. Now, if I cold store it for about, let's say 3 months, and then I sell it in the next season, what would be the cost difference?
So your cold storage will increase your price by 5 to 6 rupees per kg.
Okay.
But the bigger problem is that there is no predictability.
Uncertainty makes it very difficult for a
Uncertainty
farmer.
of the price.
Market price.
Now you don't know after 6 months will you get 30 rupees
or will it be 1 rupee again?
It can come down as well. Vegetables are highly unpredictable. The good thing is some vegetables have become predictable, like potato, highly grown in Madhya Pradesh, has become predictable because it is purchased by these chips companies like Lay's, PepsiCo, and there are many local chips companies like Balaji and all. They have a fixed season when they purchase and they define the price also, a range. Now let's say farmer harvests the potato in February. But chips companies, based on their cycle, they buy in June, and the price range is kind of defined. So the farmer is confident that in the cold storage, I'll store it from Feb to July, and I know some price that I will get. So the math is then very simple, that okay, this is my investment, this is my price right now, and that's when they will buy at this price. So will it be profitable or not? So with potato, it is figured out.
Got it.
But with tomato, chili, no one knows, and after 6 months what the price would be.
Perfect. So now I just want to delve deeper into the tools to be able to understand all this data. Is there a method for me to be able to find an appropriate price in my market?
Appropriate price, what do you mean by appropriate?
Like, let's say I'm growing tomatoes and I know for a fact that I have to sell this at 20 rupees. The nearest market is giving me only 15 rupees. Now, I don't know if this market is exploiting me or is it the fair price of the market. So, what are the tools that I'm supposed to use to gauge if that's the appropriate price or not?
So see here, it's a very difficult demand supply logic. What happens every year? Every year you will see 2 months in a year, tomato prices go beyond 100, right?
Hmm.
That is a time lot of farmers take decision कि अरे 100 रुपए जा रहा है, let me grow it.
Hmm.
Okay, then lot of people grow it. Then after 6 months, the market is just flooded with tomatoes, and that's when it comes to 1 rupee.
Got it.
So appropriate is definitely, your cost of production, then your cost of transport, margins, that is the appropriate price. But because of this difficult demand supply logic, it can go like, when it goes to 1 rupee, we know why it is 1 rupee, because the market is just flooded.
Hmm.
There is no capacity, there is no that much demand.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
this is a very important question. And these are questions that farmers also ask.
Hmm.
So first thing, like she mentioned, is cost of production, which will guide you how much would be your investment, and you can calculate it, let's say, per kg. Like in onion, it is very common. And good thing is farmers have been searching these things online on
Yeah.
Google and YouTube.
Yeah.
How much should be my cost of production on onion
Hmm.
will be their question. And you'll be surprised that they search it on YouTube, Google, as well as on Play Store.
Hmm.
Which
On
is,
Play Store as
yeah,
well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We recently did a study for ourselves. If there is a pizza app, let's say Domino's Pizza, the bigger search volume that they get on Google Play Store is find pizza near me or pizza now, rather than searching Domino's Pizza on Play Store, which is very
Interesting.
surprising, right?
Yeah.
We use that on Google, but people are using that on Play Store because they trust Play Store that based on my keywords, it will show me the best app. So farmers will also search this on all the three platforms, Play Store, Google, and YouTube.
Hmm.
What should be my cost of production for onion? That is question number one. Question number two, what is the right now selling price of onion
Hmm.
in my nearest market? They will also try to search, can I find a far away market where the price may be different?
Yeah,
So
that's what I was wondering. Is
Yeah.
there like an app or a website which can tell me that?
So Bharat Agri plays a very important role in understanding cost of production, where firstly we'll help you understand for any crop that you are growing,
Hmm.
based on your geography, your profile, etc., what would be your investment in growing that crop.
Okay.
Now Bharat Agri does not have that, but there are other apps available in the market that will tell you the price of what is the current price in nearby market.
Got it.
And government also has a portal. So government has a structure where every market has to report what is the today's price and the historical price.
Are these APMC markets?
Yes,
Yeah.
APMC.
Okay.
So there is a apmc.gov.in one website
Okay.
where you will get all today's prices across all markets in India, and as well as historically, I think they have 5-year dump over there.
Perfect.
Now the caveat here is that sometimes they are not accurate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like weather, right?
Hmm.
Ideally it should have been solved by now, but finally it's human dependent information flow,
Hmm.
where there's someone there in the market who is feeding information to the server, which is then being transmitted to these apps.
Hmm.
And any error at any place, and prices are always fluctuating.
Yeah.
Even though that person may have truthfully told that today onion price is 20 rupees, but within half a day, a lot of supply came and the prices fell down. So those information may not be very accurate. So generally farmers try to have some contacts with traders all the time, where they'll call that my onion is going to be harvested in 3 days. What's the price range? So the trader will also be careful in just telling the range, because the trader knows that the price can change. But answering your question, cost of production, Bharat Agri has a very beautiful system on the Bharat Agri app, where you can find cost of production for the crop that you want to grow.
Got it.
There are other sources like APMC websites where you can find the prices of produce that you can sell at in different markets. So you can even choose the market, that okay, some other market is offering better price. This is a need of the hour, which is the third thing, and this is not something that exists in the market. Can you predict the price? That let's say I have a crop and I have the capability to store it for a few weeks or a few months. Can someone help me predict what would be the price at after 1 month or after 2 months? Is not yet a solved problem worldwide, because we know that it's extremely variable and difficult. But if that is there, then like you asked about cold storage, then farmer can choose that okay, I will store it in cold storage because then I will sell it in future. But that does not exist right now.
But again, the beauty of prediction is that if the prediction says that you will get 30 rupees in an XYZ season, then everybody will keep storing it.
Yeah.
And when the actual season comes, there will be
Correct.
too much
Yeah.
supply, very
Correct.
less demand, and eventually the prediction is bound to go wrong.
True.
Correct.
Simply because
So a lot of companies and a lot of good companies have tried to build this prediction algorithm, but it is not yet out. So
Yeah.
that might be the reason of it. That when they try to do the fact check with their algorithm data, it must be not accurate.
beautiful. So we've got water, soil, climate, market. In market, we've got which market to sell, what should be your cost of production, eventually helping you determine the selling price. And when it comes to the APMC website, it will tell you what is the cost, what is the price that is being given out in the nearest APMC market and the market close by which you can decide when to sell or which market to sell in. Do we have any other parameters, guys?
Within this, just try to find the land near to the market. That
Near
is
to the
important.
market.
Yeah.
Any kilometer range that you would recommend?
Wherever you can reach within within let's say few hours.
Few hours.
Because once I'm giving an example, let's say you have harvested strawberry or tomatoes, chilies. Now you harvest, you don't have a cold storage truck yourself. We are talking about a general farmer. So within few hours, if you don't sell it, then the quality of the produce will start going down.
Yeah.
So your market should be nearby, so that you call them, ask them what is the rate today. You are comfortable with the rate, harvest it, and within few hours just reach there and sell them the produce.
Can we take the range to be 4 to 6 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give you one example.
Hmm.
Pune has India's biggest tomato market.
Hmm.
Any tomato you eat in Delhi also is supplied from Pune.
Okay.
It comes from whole of Western Maharashtra to Pune. And in Pune, like every day, there will be trucks loading and going to all across India. So that's why whenever tomato crisis happens, it happens in Western Maharashtra. And whenever tomato prices go really high, the Western Maharashtra farmers are the most happy farmers.
Interesting. Great. So the next parameter is sorted, which is market. Do we have another parameter to gauge?
One last is labor availability.
Labor availability. How do you gauge that?
There is no parameter to do that.
Labor or mechanization availability.
In vegetables, mechanization is
It's very
difficult.
difficult, yeah.
Even in grapes, mechanization is possible, but not for every activity. So labor is needed. Now, we have some farmers in central and eastern Maharashtra. They have large pieces of land, they have money, they have the energy and thought to mindset to grow high value crops. But because they don't get labor at the right time, they are hesitant to invest money into their land, which is a big problem.
Again, a white space that can be solved for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. So if I were to summarize this, the first parameter is water, and see if you can get water supply 12 months a year. Then we've got soil. If it is thick and muddy, the possibility of it being fertile is very high. If it is black and heavy, again, possibility of being fertile is very high. If it is sandy and dry, the possibility of it being fertile is very less. Then, in order to be able to gauge that, we can get done physical and chemical test for the soil through Bharat Agri, by which we can gauge which crop must be grown, what is the soil quality, and what are the... By the way, one more question that I forgot to ask is, can we treat the soil to make it more fertile?
Yeah. It takes time and efforts
Okay.
and money, but yes, you can do that. So
Okay.
that is where chemical test comes into picture. When you are doing a chemical test, it comes with a report of what activities do you need to do to make it fertile.
Got it. So you guys help out with the treatment procedure also.
Yeah, yeah.
Treatment recommendation also.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then we come to climate. Again, rainfall is very important. Temperature range is 15 to 30, which is all throughout the year. And then we've got market. And if your market is 4 to 6 hours away from your land, that is ideal. You can check your prices through APMC website. The cost is being given by Bharat Agri's website itself. And you need to look for labor availability. As of now, there is a white space where labor availability is not being aggregated.
Yeah.
So white space, and there is no way to figure out. It's just that you'll have to go to that particular land and see if you're getting enough laborers to work for you.
I think in labor you can add mechanization as well.
Mechanization.
Yeah. So some bit of mechanization is possible in every crop.
Okay. How do you gauge this mechanization?
So you need to prepare the land before you start sowing the crop. Even for sprays. So let's go back 10 years. Almost all of these activities were done through labor. And naturally, the human cost of doing anything keeps on growing with inflation and supply and demand. So nowadays, a lot of machinery is available in the market that can eliminate the need of labor and can make the entire activity efficient and economic for you.
Something like, there are multiple implements to tractor. So earlier tractor was only to plow the land, right? Now there are multiple implements where you can even sow seeds through it. So you don't need hundreds of laborers who are sowing seeds. It's an implement which is available, definitely a capex, but that makes the whole process much more efficient. You don't
Got it.
need laborers for 10 days anymore.
Do you guys also help out in the understanding of mechanization?
Yeah. We even help them select the right machine that they can buy. We don't sell those machines, but we connect them to suppliers. Mechanization has been a big success stories for large farms where grapes is an example, even mango, banana, papaya. So these are generally large farms, large trees. Mango is a large tree. Earlier, all the activities of even harvesting the mango or spraying something on the mango was manual. So you need labor. Like mango will become ripen during March, April. And you know that is when you get good price also. So everyone needs labor to harvest mango in that region. And then you pay more because if you harvest now, you get better pricing. So nowadays there is mechanization available where you can attach something to the tractor and spray with just one human being to the entire farm. Or you can harvest with some pluckers.
I have visited some farms in California, 2,000-acre ranch, okay, managed by 5 people. Nobody was there on farm.
Wow.
There were like some 5 remote tractors going, and we were sitting in an office like this. Okay, it was a very nice glass office. We were able to see all those tractors moving, and some 2 people were controlling those tractors. 2 people were just sitting and chilling with me.
So you're saying that machines are available?
Yeah.
A, the farmers are not educated about it. B,
Very expensive also.
It's very expensive.
Are they expensive because they're expensive, or are they expensive because of the import duty?
No, they are expensive.
expensive.
Okay. So the government has waived off import duty on most of these equipments?
A lot of them are even manufactured in India. We have tractor
India is
factories.
one of the biggest manufacturer of tractors. India exports tractors. to
What
very
about
wide
these
extent.
fancy remote tractors?
Those are also like, we know like a lot of brands in India, they export automated tractors and everything. It's just that India doesn't have that big land holding.
To justify the cost of a big
of it.
tractor.
Do you think that can be solved through shared resources?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something you were talking about, this infrastructure thing, right? Where you have 1 crore investment and you go to embassy group and do something like that. So yeah, REIT. So if India I don't think India has anywhere a 2,000-acre farm at a stretch available as such. But if bigger land sizes are possible, the mechanization can, because it's already existing, like all other countries are using it. It can be implemented. That's not a issue. But it's a very socio-economic problem.
Yeah.
If you go to Western Maharashtra, every individual will own like half an acre.
Correct.
Half an acre versus 2,000 acre, that's a huge gap to fill.
Beautiful. So the first part is done, which is how to choose the right crop. This is the study that you need to do. And if you do this study, you can go to any firm. In fact, you can come to Bharat Agri and understand which is the best crop to grow. Now let's go into the next step, which is growing it perfectly. Like, it's so easy to say, and I know that it's so difficult to execute. So let's dwell deeper into it. Residue free is something that I understood properly, which is if you were to define a well grown crop which needs to be export quality, it has to be residue free. And then we also defined what is residue free. Now let's get into the other parameters. What do we mean by growing a crop perfectly?
So there are 4 factors to it.
Okay.
First is nutrient management.
Nutrient management.
Yeah. This is very similar to human nutrient management. We have been studying balanced diet since our childhood, that we should have protein, we should have vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates. That's the same thing for a crop. Imagine if you never did formal education yourself, would you have been able to define a good diet for yourself?
No.
You would be just doing guesswork. Ki my grandparents used to eat 3 chapatis, I'll also eat 3 chapatis. And they generally eat chapati with some green vegetables, and in India commonly potato and onion with green vegetables, so I'll also do that. In many families at night they eat dal rice, so I'll also eat dal rice, which is guesswork, which even today happens in most places.
My mom is afraid of protein shake also.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
my grandmother did not have protein shake, no?
True. Protein bar is considered a taboo.
True.
Literally, when I discuss protein bar in my family, they say, why are you eating chocolate? Why are you eating processed food? But they are fine eating samosa kachori.
Yeah.
Because that's what they have been doing. Now, imagine the same thing happening in agriculture, where none of the farmers did formal education. That's the truth. It's a harsh truth about our country, that none of the farmers, most of the farmers did not do formal education about agriculture, which is BSc Agri, MSc Agri, etc. So what do? My crop needs nutrients like human being needs nutrients. So whatever my parents have been doing, I'll add the same fertilizers. Whatever my nearby farmer is doing, I'll do the same thing. The third source of information is that there's a local retailer. The retailer says this is a new fertilizer in the market, use that, I use that. Now you know that as a human being, would you survive without good protein or without good nutrient heavy diet? You will not. You know that your energy will get impacted. If you want to do good in career related to athletics or gymnastics, you will fail. For brain, you will not be able to focus. So, but the same thing farmers are doing. They are, for nutrient management, they are using information that their grandparents were doing. Now, in agriculture, the nutrients are even more important because you are using it for commercial purposes. Can Virat Kohli afford to be lenient in diet? No, because his diet is commercial.
Yeah.
His energy defines whether country will win or not.
Correct.
So each percentage of his diet is used for commercial purposes. So it's super important. You and me can still be lenient. I have a cheat Sunday, I have a cheat Saturday, I'll do whatever, but he cannot.
Yeah.
Now, every farmer is growing a crop to sell for commercial purposes. If he doesn't sell, his family will not earn money that season. So, every decision that he takes related to nutrient management is super important. He cannot be lenient, but he has done no education. An average crop needs 15 different nutrients to grow.
Okay.
Right? Now, a crop grows for, let's say, 4 months. 0th day to 120th day, 4 months. Now, every 20 days, a different nutrient is needed. You used to consume a lot of calcium during first 3-4 years through milk, through curd, etc. Do you consume as much today? No. Now you are shifted from calcium to protein. Now, a crop also during initial phases needs, let's say, more nitrogen. But during harvest, it needs more potassium. And in mid phase, it needs more phosphorus. And there are 15 such nutrients. I have just named 3 right now. So it's a complicated science.
And every crop has a different such cycle. Because you will see like some crops are fruits, some are vegetables, some are cereals. So every stage, so it's a very complicated science where not just the time, but a particular crop, then it's very different varieties. So it's a very difficult metrics you can assume.
Until this point, as per my imagination, it's just that you sow the seeds, you water them, you put in some fertilizer, and then eventually after 3 months you harvest it and then you sell it.
Yeah.
No.
So this is the education that
It's
I
a
have.
multi
And this is the education that farmers also have.
That is terrible.
That is terrible.
Oh
And
my
that's why you'll be surprised. The most common crop that is grown in India is rice, wheat. These are the common crops. A country like Australia, which is not even an agrarian economy, grows 5 times more rice per unit acre of land as compared to India.
5 times per unit acre,
Yes, 5 times.
which means in the same piece of land,
Same
Yes.
piece of
an
land.
Australian farmer is able to grow 5 times more rice as compared to an Indian farmer.
Yes.
Why?
And that is why it's cheaper also. It's not just the mechanization, the productivity is also higher.
That's because we are not following scientific techniques.
And
Oh my god.
let me
In
tell you,
Olympics, an average US athlete is 2 times more powerful than an Indian average. That's why they have more gold medal. Because they followed the right diet from their school days. Protein is a concept in India that came 2-3 years back. They have been doing it since last 30 years. The right diet, the right gym routine, whatever lifestyle. So they become more fitter and they use it in sports, which is what is in agriculture as well.
and I want to emphasize on the fact that India is blessed with the best land and best agroclimatic zone. Australia, if you consider, it has, some part has very harsh climate, soil is not good. Geographically, it is at a very different place. Most of the countries, take Russia or Ukraine, because we were talking, they can grow wheat only in one season. Other season, it's like super cold over there,
Yeah.
ice. But that one season, they use best of whatever they can. India is blessed with a 12-month agriculture, best of water resources, best of climate. But we are not utilizing it to the potential which it has.
Incredible.
Yeah. Now, the good thing is farmers are learning this. Now smartphones are available everywhere. So farmers know that there's some information that exists and I am growing, let's say, tomato. How will I get good price for my tomato? One is if I have more tomatoes. If generally I am growing, let's say, 1 crate of tomato, if I am able to grow 2 crates, 3 crates, naturally I'll earn more money. Then my tomato should be the reddest tomato in the market. And there are some more features that it should be shiny and it should not be soft and squishy. It should be hard during the sales time. So farmers are nowadays searching online how to increase my tomato production. Video is something that becomes viral if it is catchy. You will get success stories in India as well, where let's say the average production is 1 crate. In Australia, it is 5 crate, but in India, one farmer has achieved 4 crate. Right? So that video will become viral, that this farmer became a millionaire by growing tomato. So now an average farmer would be like, what is he doing? How can I grow more tomatoes from the same piece of land? And they'll search. And that's where then Bharat Agri comes into the picture. We have to be available on YouTube, Google and Play Store kind of platforms where if a farmer searches anything about the crop, we should be available. And then our app, which is available on Play Store, will guide them how to improve your tomato production, how to improve tomato quality, because you want the reddest tomato, hard and shiny. And quantity is another thing which is simple math.
So through your app, everything can be found out.
Yes.
Through your app, can you also help me out with nutrient management?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you help me grow the crop perfectly. Is that
Nutrient management is one aspect where we guide you what nutrient to add at what point of time. Now, nutrient in example is, let's say, protein. But if I just tell you that eat 20 gram protein, your question would be how? Like, do I eat paneer? Do I eat soya bean? Or do I eat rice? Your question will be there. So first we tell nutrient, then we tell which fertilizer will supply that nutrient. So now we have come to fertilizer. So we tell them how much fertilizer to add, when to add and how to add.
Which one to add also.
And all these fertilizers, they're available in your website.
Yes. So we are a multi-brand website, marketplace. So all the biggest brand, multinational, national, regional brands are listed. So you can choose from which particular brand you have more trust, or we can suggest which is a good brand they can purchase.
So nutrient management is the first step to growing the crop perfectly.
Yeah.
So this is the first parameter. The second parameter is?
Second is pest and disease management.
Okay.
Now in human beings, once you have cracked nutrient management, you would want to ensure that if you are Virat Kohli, you should not fall sick all 12 months because you have a busy schedule, you are representing the country, you have tournaments, you have World Cups, you have IPL. So like you and me can afford to fall sick once a year, you can take a break. But a person who is using his talent commercially cannot afford to fall sick. So what will be the first goal of Virat Kohli? That I prevent the pests and the diseases that I may face. I should be immune enough so that I don't suffer a disease. At the same time, I know that during extreme monsoon, high chances of me falling sick. So during monsoon, I take extra steps to build up my immunity. That's point number 2. Point number 3, that even then there are chances I will fall sick because I'm traveling so much, consuming random food, water, that if I fall sick, I should recover quickly. That is the goal of a person who is using their talent commercially. Now, every crop is grown commercially. So the first thing is build up immunity of the crop that the disease or pest attack does not happen, which we guide the farmer with how to build immunity. We have an exact calendar. Calendar is like a step-by-step activity that the farmer should do. And if they do that, the immunity will be good enough. Like how a gym trainer gives a calendar. That you follow this calendar, follow this diet, follow this schedule, you will turn out to be a better athlete. That's what we do with the farmer. Bharat Agri gives them a calendar which will build immunity. The second thing is when we predict that weather changes are going to happen, we ask the farmer to take additional steps to prevent a pest or disease attack. And the third, if a pest or disease attack happens, there's a two-way communication where farmer alerts us, shares photos, shares text, and we guide them how to control that pest and disease immediately.
Perfect. The second step is pest and disease management.
Yeah.
What is the third parameter?
The third parameter is irrigation management. Water is a food for plant. Now farmer needs to, now every crop has a different water requirement and it changes based on weather conditions. So we guide farmer with water intake as well. When to give water, when not to give, and how much to give.
Then
the fourth aspect is weed management. So every crop sees some unwanted grass that grows along with the crop in the same soil. And that grass ends up taking the nutrients from the soil. So less nutrient is available to the crop. So farmers need to first is prevent the growth of these grasses, which in agriculture language is called weed. And if it is grown, it needs to be removed through either manual activities or through some sprays. Now this also we have basically parameterized this, where we know for which crop which weed has high probability to grow and how can we prevent it with through some sprays or how can we control it once it has grown. So even that is a part of our calendar.
Got it.
Which we include, so that in a single calendar, farmer sees nutrient management, pest disease management, irrigation management, and weed management, so that they don't have to search each of these things individually.
Got it.
And a lot of this has been built because we have seen farmers search this on Google and YouTube.
Got it.
They will search in Hindi कि मेरे गन्ने में मोटा घास उग गया है,
अच्छा.
अब मैं क्या करूं? And that grass has the power to destroy sugarcane.
Yeah.
Because it will take up all the nutrients and sugarcane will be left with no nutrients.
And it also attracts more pests and diseases.
Got it.
So it clicked to us that this problem should be a part of our calendar and the solution should be a part of our calendar. So even if there is no grass, in the calendar, we will recommend a farmer some spray on the soil. And farmers will be surprised, ये हमसे क्यों spray करवा रहे हो? But if they do that following Bharat Agri calendar, then the grass will not come at all and they'll be surprised कि why is my production higher than other farmers, because you took all these small steps that we suggested you to do.
Amazing. So nutrient management, pest and disease management, irrigation management, and weed management, all of this, again, I can find in your website. One question that I had is, do you have case studies on your website where people have used Bharat Agri's calendar, the nutrient management profile, and everything else to be able to increase their yield?
Yeah. We have multiple case studies, multiple success stories. One thing that is important in this industry is trust. Now, I'll give you a counter example. There are companies who are manufacturing some pesticides and fertilizers. They have huge team on the ground. They'll keep meeting the farmer. Spray this fertilizer and all your problems will be solved. And it's just what, 500 rupees a pack. So farmer will be like, not a big investment, I'll do it. So farmer is always bombarded with such marketing content by people on the ground to spray something magical which will solve the problem. Now we tell them and go and tell them something similar, right? That use Bharat Agri calendar and solve your problems. And they'll be like, why? Why should we trust you? So to build that trust, even when today you open Bharat Agri application you will see multiple success stories on our homepage itself. Most of them in video format, where an individual farmer is telling that yes, I used your services, which is both e-commerce and consultancy, and I saw good results on my farm.
And your services are free.
Yes.
Now let's come to the next part, which is sales. How should a farmer approach? And this is also a problem that I encountered when we were about to make an investment into an organic farm, where the biggest question was, okay, we know how to grow the crop. Let's trust the expertise of the farmer, but how do we sell it? What are the parameters, or what is the approach that I'm supposed to have to be able to sell my product at the right time, at the right price?
So if you are a new farmer who is deciding to now buy a land and grow a crop, divide your crops into two categories. First is perishable and second is non-perishable. Now, non-perishable is everything that you can store for around 6 months or more. So all your grains and pulses, some vegetables like onion, all your spices like turmeric, ginger, cardamom, some strong or sturdy fruits will also come in non-perishable or semi-perishable category. Now, since you are doing this as a business, figure out some infrastructure where you can store these crops. There are high chances that whenever you harvest that crop, the prices will be low because everyone around you has harvested around the same time because that is more weather dependent. So when let's take potato as an example we took. So everyone harvests the potato at the same time, which is seasonal. But if you are a smart farmer, you have figured out that the prices of potato are higher in this month. Now build or rent the infrastructure to store that crop. This is possible for all rice, wheat, soya bean, maize, sweet corn, all pulses, all spices, sugarcane, cotton, except for perishable vegetables and fruits. This is possible for all the crops.
Even in perishable fruits, it is affordable to do a crop cold storage. So somebody like, since we were talking about grapes farmers do use cold storage because it is affordable. Just in a specific vegetable segment, I think anybody who is trying to do should do a cost analysis and then only go for it.
Got it. So it becomes unviable after a certain point,
Yeah.
right? What is the good margin, guys? Let's say my cost of production is 20 rupees. What's a healthy price to sell it at?
50% is considered average in agriculture. So 30 rupees is what you should. So 50% would be your margin.
Net.
Net.
Okay.
So 30 rupees, you should sell it anywhere above 30 rupees. If
Got
your
it.
cost of production is 20.
Now, but here, one mistake which we see farmers doing is they don't consider their own labor. Generally, the whole family will be involved in agriculture in some other means. So that labor generally goes unnoticed. So whenever we suggest anything, we consider, as per labor hours, consider it as a manufacturing. Everything has to be counted, and on top of that, the profit margin should be kept.
The Swaminathan Commission report equation.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, it
Okay.
is correct.
So would you suggest farmers to use the Swaminathan Commission report to evaluate the price at which they're supposed to sell?
No, use the parameters.
Okay.
So like a report will consider even cost of water that you have used, cost of electricity, cost of labor,
Yeah.
and you use your own family members and yourself to do some activities on the farm. So include that cost. So don't take the number from the report because number would be changing from state to state, but use that parameter and use your own number.
Got it.
Yeah. So something like skilled labor is different. So for all activities on a grape farm, the labor will be expensive because the activities will need some skills versus if you take a labor on a rice farm. So if you consider the same pricing for everything, then it will not be good. It will not
Makes
be right.
sense. Got it. Anything else, guys? For sales?
If it is non-perishable, figure out a way to store it and build a network around you to find out when to sell, which is more again information, knowledge, and building some relationship with the buyers. One success story that I'll share here is again from Maharashtra. Like Maharashtra is a good state for onion. Now onion is semi-perishable. If you don't store it well, within 15-20 days it's bad. But if you store it well, you can store for 3-4 months. Now you can build infrastructure at your own farm at a cost of as less as just 1 lakh rupees to store your entire onion produce for 6 months. And government is further subsidizing it. by 50%. That you invest 50%, government will give you 50% and build that infrastructure.
Got it.
So a good chunk of farmers have figured that out in Maharashtra. They know that when I harvest onion, I may not get good price, but I am lucky enough to not have cash flow issues right now. So I'm fine if I get money 6 months later. So I'll store it. And then 6 months later, I may get double or triple price. And new farmers who are listening to this and are trying to enter into agriculture should have such a thought process that I should be good enough with cash flow so that I store and get more profit in future.
Got it.
I want to add to this. There are companies who do commodity financing. So these are generally warehousing companies. So let's say if you have wheat produce, and today wheat prices, because everybody is harvesting, it's low. So you can store at their warehouses, and then they will give you loan against that commodity. So after 6 months, because cash flow is an issue with every farmer. So after 6 months, when the prices are high and you want to sell, so you can sell it, and then it will get adjusted with your loan which is taken, and then additional whatever amount you want to take.
When it comes to infrastructure, ये कहाँ से source करते हैं? Because when I asked my uncle, he said India Mart. India Mart में जाके he made a list of all the equipments that he thought is necessary through YouTube videos, and then he said, let's just order these equipments from India Mart. There'll be another vendor who'll come and install it for you, and I think that's quite risky because the investment amount is pretty high.
Yeah.
So what do you think should be the right way to approach this infrastructure building?
By infrastructure, you mean some warehouse in the farm?
Anything for that matter.
Yeah.
Even if there is a warehouse that needs to be built, in my case, if I'm not wrong, it was about building that greenhouse.
Okay.
So there was a vendor that he searched for on India Mart, and then he got hold of the vendor's number. Again, a lot of people started calling him, and it was pretty chaotic. There isn't a fixed pattern on how to approach it. So do we have a method to approach infrastructure building?
Yeah. So there are some good companies. Now again, everything is at a cost. So something like Jain Irrigation. It's a listed company. They are very good in everything related to drip irrigation and irrigation, everything related to greenhouses. So likewise, every state or couple of states will have a very good company, and then it's better to go directly to them. They will direct you to their distributor who will be local or maybe in your district who will come and do the work for you.
Perfect.
And all these things, most of the infrastructure things have subsidy. So it's better to go through an authorized distributor so that you can avail that subsidy. Otherwise you will not be.
Got it. But ये Jain irrigation तो बस irrigation के लिए हो गया ना?
Yeah.
कोई certain parameters हैं, जैसे हो गया storage, irrigation, ऐसे कोई set categories हैं जिनमें अपने को एक brand define करने की जरूरत है?
Yes. So one thing that someone will have to understand, let's say it's your uncle, or if some entrepreneur wants to enter into this field and wants to do farming themselves, the topic that we are on right now, which is heavy infrastructure, this cannot be done online.
This cannot be done online.
Yeah.
Okay.
So India Mart would be the wrong place to go, because like you rightly mentioned, 10 people will call you. You will trust 1 out of 10 people, and that person may not turn out to be correct. Which is same with home construction, building, etc. Right? Or interiors, because all of these are heavy investment things. So you will trust them by visiting them, checking testimonials, word of mouth, etc. So Jain Irrigation is a very good company for irrigation, reputed. So contact them, they will connect you with their dealer, and then meet them, bring them to your farm, and they'll do a survey and will suggest you a solution. For mechanization, John Deere, Mahindra, Sonalika, these are some good companies. They don't only have tractors but also have tractor supplements. So meet them, go to their store. They will come to your farm and suggest what implement you will need.
Got it.
Unfortunately, for storage at your farm, there are no big companies or brands. So you will have to go through some unbranded stuff. But again, meet them. Find some farmers nearby who have done similar work. The good thing is that because a lot of these things have subsidy involved, so you will find some vendors who will tell you that yes, I will do the subsidy work for you. That means now it is official.
Fertilizer and pesticides, do we have a brand that we can trust for any kind of crop or?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, can you give me some names?
Let's talk about fertilizers. Deepak Fertilizer is a big company, listed company on our in India. Very high quality products. IFFCO is another company, IFFCO,
It's
IFFCO,
a government. It's like
cooperative.
Amul, yeah, cooperative.
Then Coromandel.
DCM Shriram.
So these are some reputed companies where the quality of fertilizer is something that you can trust.
Got it. And how to use this fertilizer? I can contact you
Yes, and to buy these fertilizers also.
to buy these fertilizers.
So we have these companies who sell on Bharat Agri directly.
Okay.
And this is again a result of a lot of primary research that we did. We use Google Analytics, we use YouTube Analytics. We see that farmers are searching for these brands because these brands have become popular among farmers. These companies do radio ads, TV ads, newspaper ads. So farmer knows that okay, there's a company called Deepak Fertilizer, but I am going to the shop and Deepak Fertilizer is not available for whatever reasons. So the farmer will search on YouTube or Google and we get data that okay, this brand is gaining traction. So we bring that brand on Bharat Agri app and list them on Bharat Agri app.
Okay. So all the fertilizers that you have in your app, are these like verified high quality fertilizers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So no random vendor can just list his or her fertilizer in your website.
They can, but they have to go through a quality check process.
Okay.
And then if we find that their products are not very high quality, they should still be allowed to sell because we are building a democratized platform that some farmers are fine with low quality but affordable products. So we mark and the high quality products are what we'll recommend.
So just like there is Amazon choice, do
Yeah.
we have like a Bharat Agri choice?
Not yet, but we are building one.
Okay.
So basically, what happens is all the multinational, national, and regional brands get a preference just because
Reputation.
Yeah.
And
reputation.
quality.
Great. Now, guys,
Now I want to touch that in fertilizers. Then there is a second category which is more sustainable fertilizers. So these are branded, high quality. Second is more organic, sustainable products. So that is also very important because for farmers who want to only stick to organic or who want to stick to residue free, so there are different type of brands, and unfortunately in India there are no strong brands. Like I cannot name a brand which will be available across India and very strong. But there are regional brands who are still trying and create this category, I would say.
Got it. Great. Organic farming is another podcast episode, guys. I think we should do it. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So sustainable fertilizers, do you have any brands that you can name? As in, they may not be big brands, but any brand that you could name which is reliable enough?
Yeah.
So Indian Farmer Company, IFC, is one brand that sells on Bharat Agri platform. It has all organic products. And one thing that I want to quickly add in organic is that organic products are not used by just organic farmers. A normal farmer who's doing farming, the ideal thing is that you continue with your chemical way of farming that you have been doing, reduce chemical composition and add some organic. It's like adding more fresh fruits and vegetables to your diet. That doesn't mean you stop eating what you are eating, just that when you add more fruits, automatically your junk food goes down. So, but you don't rely only on fruits and vegetables. You still eat cooked food otherwise. So, every farmer should use some bit of organic inputs to improve the soil health. And companies like one Indian farmer company is there. Second is a Maharashtra-based company named Anand Agro. They also manufacture good organic products. Then JU Agri Science, J for Japan, U for USA, JU Agri Science. They have also started manufacturing some good agri inputs in organic category that farmers can use.
Guys, now I want to delve deeper into how did you grow your company? And this is going to be a short segment because I want to quickly, because you've largely covered everything that you guys do, but I want to look at the growth aspect, which is you being a modern company for an industry which has generally been very orthodox, right? Now we are seeing the evolution of farmers where people use mobile apps, people use websites and stuff like that to be able to understand, get advice and execute things. But then this is still a very, very fast growing market and a very under penetrated market. In this market, when you're building a new age company, my first question is, how do you design for farmers? And my second question is, how do you grow in this market? Let's start with the first question. How do you design for farmers? Because you recently mentioned that Play Store में जाके लोग ये सारी चीजें सर्च करते हैं जो हमने कभी सोचा नहीं था. So,
Correct.
but then this is very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But then what was your discovery process like? How did you discover these insights and how did you build for this underpenetrated market?
So one thing which was clear when we started the company is we wanted to bridge this information gap. What farmers are doing versus what is available, where science has gone in last 20, 30, 40 years. And we wanted to algorithmize it such that it is not people dependent. It is something, which farmer want. We are able to assess all parameters and give it to them. And obviously, like when we went to farmer, aapko kya chahiye? This was not a solution which they wanted.
Okay.
They just wanted to get rich in one day.
Okay.
So from there to here, it was a very difficult journey for us because we had to figure out how to reach there. And so first, something which we did is like we did farming ourselves. We were like, let's live in village, understand the psyche of the farmer. It should not be like, we are suggesting something to them which is like very remote. Because we are finally living in cities for some time. Our education is more tech oriented. It should not happen that our solution is something very alien to them that they will just not adopt it. So that was first aspect. So we lived in village, we did farming ourselves, we understood every aspect of it. Whatever we have told you is something which we have gone through. So whatever solution then we started building was very relatable to the farmers. Initial 1 year, again, we went very slow. We launched our information and advisory solution, and we ourselves went and talked with farmers that we are giving you this calendar. Give us feedback of every activity. Tell us whether you are able to do, not able to do. And we received a lot of understanding. We understood that whatever we are telling them is not available in their local market, because we are trying to give them a input which is cost efficient, which is more for the farming side. Now when it is not available, they were not able to adopt it. So that was one feedback which we received, and that led to a parallel business of marketplace e-commerce. Earlier we were like, let's give the best of the advisory, charge for the advisory, but we realized that if they are not able to use that advisory, what's the use of it?
Correct.
So if a doctor is giving you a medicine which is not available anywhere, kya karoge us medicine ka, right? So that's how our business has evolved. One critical point for us was 2020 when pandemic happened. So that was a time when we were planning to launch the application and pandemic happened, and all this process of working with farmer, taking feedback was very one-on-one. We were actually living in farm. We were working with some 500 farmers, and then pandemic happened, and we had to again regroup and restructure now what to do.
Okay.
That's when we also reached out to multiple resources that how should we go about launching the app? How should we go about keeping our advisory giving plan same as we had earlier planned? So some resources came handy. Something like we got accepted in Google's India Accelerator. So Google has a stream where they help companies and startups to go through launching app or lot of aspects of starting a startup in a very structured manner.
Google for startups.
Google for startups.
Google for startups.
Yes. So that particular program helped us in actually launching the app and getting a word of mouth sorted initially.
So you did not have an app before. It's only through.
It was still in beta.
Acha, got it. After that.
So once we launched the app and we got a lot of support from Google about how to grow it, then one of the biggest thing was trust. When a farmer comes across Bharat Agri, whether to spend money on Bharat Agri or not, or whether even to listen to their advice or not, comes when they see success stories in their language and in their geography. So one important thing for us is personalization. So if you are a farmer in Madhya Pradesh, and if you see testimonial videos of Madhya Pradesh farmers speaking in your own language, and the best thing would be speaking about your own crop, then the trust level will increase a lot. So we incorporated those aspects in our app, which led to better word of mouth. Then our team came up with a even better idea that since we are doing this video based sharing and testimonials, why don't we make all these live on YouTube? And that's what gave birth to our YouTube channel, where we started 2 YouTube channels. Bharat Agri Marathi and Bharat Agri Hindi.
Okay.
Again, language is very important because all the consumption will happen in their own language. Even though in Maharashtra all of us speak Hindi comfortably, but a rural user needs to have the consumption in Marathi itself. So we have these two channels. We started publishing lots of testimonial videos in these two channels. And then we started publishing advisory related videos on YouTube. What is an advisory related video? We took an example of tomato. If a farmer wants high prices for tomato, the tomato should be red. But in the market, you must be seeing some yellow tomatoes
Correct.
or some red tomatoes with black spots.
Yeah.
So we started publishing videos, how to earn more money by growing tomato, generic video. How to convert tomato from yellow to red.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
At a farm, not at your house. Or how to grow spotless red tomato.
Okay.
And we started guiding them as a doctor that if you follow XYZ activities on your farm, your tomato will be much redder, no yellow, no spots. So slowly farmers started believing that Bharat Agri is a company that is here to guide me, is not here to sell me anything. So they started engaging with our videos, comments, shares, etc. And then we share our link of Bharat Agri app. To know more about tomato, download Bharat Agri app.
Once they come to app, then we lot of personalization happens. Their location helps us to fetch the weather data, and then weather data is very important. The aspect which we earlier discussed about pest prediction, disease prediction. So then our algorithms run on that. We can tell them, we are able to predict the pests and diseases which can happen on their tomato farm.
What are you saying, guys? So in
Yes.
your app, if I'm a farmer from, let's say, Solapur, and I tell you that here's where my farm is,
Yeah.
and I tell you this is what I grow,
Yeah.
will your app give me a prompt
Yes.
that during this time, this pest could occur and hence you need to take action?
Yes.
Correct.
Wow.
So that is the major USP which we have.
That is brilliant, guys, because the next question that I was about to ask you is, okay, you've given me the calendar, because my nutritionist has also given me a calendar,
Yeah.
but I'm not able to follow it even though I
Correct,
want to,
correct.
because I'm engaged in so many activities
Yeah.
that building a system to be able to follow that calendar becomes extremely difficult. And more importantly, the prompt is very important, right? Because the farmer is so busy doing so many tasks that the prompt to be able to understand that, okay, this pest is going to come up, and the preparation needed
Correct.
before the pest comes is more important than just knowing that the pest is going to come.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got it. So you notify the farmers in advance
Correct.
that this is the pest that could occur and you need to solve for it
Correct.
Yeah. We
with the
tell them
products
how
that you
to
already have in your
prevent
website.
Correct.
Oh my God.
So basically what happens, it's the preventive advisory is something which helps the farmers the best. And it's better to solve it before.
Got
So we have the highest level of dynamic personalization. So as the weather changes, this pest and disease prediction also changes.
So do you guys have the data set of the entire country's weather
Yes.
based on which you make these predictions and give them prompts?
Yeah.
Wow. This infrastructure must have been extremely costly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it has taken us a lot of time also to build.
Are these built on certain existing services, or is it something that you've built by yourself?
So we use something like Google Cloud. We use as a basic part. We use Google Search, which are then inbuilt, and then on top of that, all our algorithms run to personalize it to the best of farmers' farmers' farm personalization.
Got it. Do you guys use Google Earth?
We use Google Satellite. So there are APIs from which we fetch the location of the farm.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Then what happens, guys? What's your user journey like after this?
So farmers come to the platform, we provide them the highest level of personalization and then direct them to our marketplace, which has all the possible brands listed. So they can choose from whichever for the composition or the product which we are asking them to use on farm. They can use any brand, purchase from us, and just have the best of the possible activity for their farm.
Perfect. So
Now-
you take care of both
Yeah.
accessibility as well as knowledge.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of the milestones which are for us is currently we have 5 million downloads on our Play Store.
Wow.
Yeah.
5 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
When did you develop this app and take it live?
2020.
Guys, 4 years mein 5 million.
Yeah.
That
Just
is
last
more than
week
the
we
subscribers that we have. which is incredible. Last
Yeah.
week, what?
Just last week we crossed the 50 lakh number.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And how many of these subscribers have actually transacted on your app?
So monthly, we are currently doing around 60,000-70,000 transactions.
Wow, that is amazing, guys.
Yeah.
Now, how did you grow your app so quickly? Because I know that building an app on the Play Store is one thing, but then I haven't seen your ads. Do you
Mhm.
guys do performance, or what are your?
Yeah.
Do
So
you
we
get
do
downloads through YouTube, or how is it?
we do performance ads. Majorly Google is somewhere because search is something which is very strong. Like Siddharth was telling, farmers come and search for anything, and they search in the Indian languages. They'll search in English. They'll search on all possible combinations which we cannot imagine. That is one of the major place where we get the users directed. Second is YouTube. We have two YouTube channels, Bharat Agri Marathi, Bharat Agri Hindi, together around 2.5L subscribers, and we create lot of content right now. So that any farmer in different language can come and you has something to consume. So these are the two major channels. We also work with a lot of rural influencers, who come and who test our advisory. So we ask them just to test the advisory, see if it is useful, and then make a video. So that way also we are trying to reach to majority of the users.
Got it.
Yeah. The second thing is majority of our users are repeat users. So today, out of all the transactions which are happening or the users who are coming, 70% of them are from the repeat users because they see the advisory, they first consume the products which we are showing on marketplace. They find it very useful that they come and do a repurchase.
Perfect. Guys, one question that I would like to add to this is about trust. Because, like I just told you, Zerodha is a company that always looks for high trust companies in a trust deficit market.
Yeah.
And that's where they invest. And this is what I find deeply fascinating. That is, how do you solve for trust? In your case, because you're not a physically present company in all the areas where your customers interact with you from, how do you solve for trust?
Yeah. So we discussed about two steps in last 5 to 10 minutes where video testimonials or success stories is something that worked out well for us. So first thing that we did was we put these videos on Bharat Agri app homepage itself. So that once the user is on the homepage, they are going to do some transaction. They should see that a lot of farmers have already used the service and are happy. But we want to capture them before acquisition as well. So we started putting these videos on YouTube, which got shared by farmers and which again built the trust. But there was one step in the middle which was missing. From YouTube, they go to Google Play Store. And we were observing that before downloading the app, they go through the reviews. They want to check that am I not downloading something that is a scam or something false, or will I add some virus on my phone? So they kind of read the reviews, which you and me also do. We also check reviews. So we were seeing that farmers see and read the reviews before downloading the app. So we integrated some very basic tools in the app where we want to get genuine reviews from our existing users. So whenever we were observing that they are doing some activity on the app which leads to a happy moment, a happy thought, which generally happens in Make My Trip. When you book a ticket, right after booking the ticket, you are happy for 10-20 seconds because the transaction got successfully completed. True for Flipkart, Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon. And right then and there, they ask you to give a review. So high chances you will give a positive review. So we tried to find such moments on the Bharat Agri app or such actions on Bharat Agri app and prompted them to give review. And earlier we were only using that as our own feedback, but we started redirecting them to Google Play Store. So our reviews quantity started increasing significantly. Earlier we had like 5,000-6,000 reviews. Now we have more than 15,000 reviews.
Wow.
And those reviews are also getting compounded. More and more reviews are coming. And most of them are positive because we prompt them to give review right after a positive thought. So more number of reviews and more positive reviews also increased downloads. So it became a loop which led to a growth.
How did you discover this happy moment wala thing?
We were observing that the app usage is very high, transactions are growing, but reviews are not growing. And we have to convince the user, send them WhatsApp to give a review, which you would have seen a lot of hotels also do.
Even we do.
Yeah, you have to, like, you want users to give feedback which you can share. So then we started using other apps like Some e-commerce apps like Flipkart, Meesho, they have millions of reviews. They have lakhs of reviews. And we wanted to see how are they getting such large number of reviews, given their transactions are high, but still. So we started using those apps and we saw that they prompt you to give reviews right after a happy thought. So we tried to replicate those behavior.
Amazing. What else?
What we do is, since we are giving a calendar, we are suggesting user to do an activity. So we also take feedback whether he has done it or not. Then we give them some appreciation after every activity which they have done it. So it's a loop which we are doing multiple times, and user is also giving a feedback of initially a small feedback, and when we see a user has given 3-4 small feedbacks, then redirect them to Play Store.
Got it.
One of the things that led to using the feedback that we were getting from the users was that when we started building out the app, our first instinct is to consider ourselves as a user. So we try to learn from Zomato,
Learn from Flipkart,
Amazon, maybe Ola, Uber. And a lot of our design was urban centric. But it took us quite some time to realize that all our users are rural users. And for us, understanding some common icons is very common, right? Every app in urban India has a home page. Now, what is home? Right? Like you and me, we take it for granted that home means जो सबसे पहला पेज ऐप पे खुलेगा. But rural user को जब आप घर दिखाओगे, why should he not consider that as his address?
True.
आपने होम दिखा दिया और होम में जनरली अपन वैसा घर का आइकन दिखाते हैं. For them it is घर, for them it is their address, और वो उस पर क्लिक ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो होम पेज पे आ ही नहीं रहे हैं. So lot of these minor things. अपने लिए when we show customer support, there are some icons, right? या तो एक call होगा या there will be a call center person's icon. But for a rural user, the only way to communicate is WhatsApp. So if you don't show a WhatsApp icon and if you show a call icon, they'll not click.
Oh my God.
So the design for rural user has to be completely different.
ये कैसे discover किया आपने?
This has come out after a lot of failures. We build something, we think कि this is something that will work and people will start sharing our application and it just doesn't work. Then we call customers and they ask us, अच्छा ये भी feature है आपके पास, ये तो मुझे पता ही नहीं है, and we think कि ये तो feature मिल ही जाएगा.
Then we took these problems back to our drawing board, our designers. We also sat and we were like, this is something which is again counterintuitive. If this is something which a user is finding useful, why is he not sharing? Because the share icon was this share we use, right? It was not intuitive for them. That was not a share in their perspective. Then we also reached out to some industry experts. We connected with Google for Startups. This was 2020 when we had just launched our application and we were not able to get the traction required. We sat with people who have actually designed Android's iconography to understand what was their thought process, and we realized it is very urban and it is coming majorly from Silicon Valley. So we should not use it directly. Again, we sat with them, went to drawing board and made it more intuitive for our users. Most of the things we initially just started by naming it instead of using iconography. Let's put a word to it so that they need not to interpret something. And then slowly inculcate a very small iconography along with the name. So that's how then it started taking off.
Such a small thing, but makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
No? Incredible. Guys, thank you so much. This was extremely delightful. Like I said, this is going to be one of the best things that my uncle would have seen on YouTube. This is a step-by-step guide, and the reason why I appreciate this so much is because there is a structure to it, and that makes it so easy to memorize, so easy to take notes from. And I will leave the links to all the. Do you have contents on Bharat Agri which are written blogs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'll post all the links in the description, and hopefully, if anybody finds it useful, they should venture into farming because that is something that can get you a BMW. So thank you so much, guys. It really means a lot. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.